Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining wherever you're joining from. Good to have you here. I didn't put the little title bar down on my TV map. There we go. Welcome. Thanks for being here. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a regular, thanks for joining. If you have a question, start your message with the letter Q, and it'll make it a little bit easier for me to spot it in the chat as things get going today. Highlight Photography says, hi from a dark but hot Singapore. Oh, wow. Yeah. It's yeah, I was in Mexico last week, and it was, or 2 weeks ago, it was also hot and muggy, and that is my least favorite weather. This Portland got hot again too. It's now we had another like 97-degree day, which is, what is that in Celsius, like 36 or 37, and at least it wasn't muggy. So yeah. Okay, welcome. We have a couple of things to chat about. Your questions, of course. I can update you on some other stuff that's going on in my world. And I also took an opportunity to work on a project I've been putting off for a very long time, which is getting this machine back up and running. And it's actually working. It actually functions. So if you have any suggestions of what I can do with it now that it's working, let me know. But I've got it booted up. It's got a replacement SCSI drive. It's actually like a little Raspberry Pi chip that pretends to be a drive, and it's like over a gig of data for that machine, which is unheard of. But that was fun. That was a fun evening project. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat, which means I'm going to start rambling, and we're going to see how things go. So I have recently found an opportunity to get back to doing some live event filming, and I don't have like an exact date for these yet, but they are like very similar to the things I've done in the past. So small presentations and small room, simple presentation. One camera is probably enough. 2 cameras is more than enough. And I'm starting to think about like, what am I going to use for this now that I've got an opportunity to actually go film somewhere that's not just my studio. So I'm curious. Yeah, curious if we'll maybe do some little sketches here and see if we can put together some different rigs. But hopefully it'll be another chance to test out some different combinations of gear as well. Oh yes, that's right. I forgot that today is Matt's birthday. 54. Wait, 65. Which one is it? Happy birthday to Matt. Mary says, any trial on Starlink Mini? No, I don't have any Starlink. No Starlink. No reason to get Starlink here. My wired internet is perfectly fine. So I definitely don't go anywhere remote enough to justify that. Oh, IT Never Gets Old says, how goes the studio rebuild the talk show interview area? I don't know if it's going to end up working out like I expect now that I've got this table here. It's definitely showing me how small this room is. Because this room is like, what is this? 12 feet wide, which is not tiny, but this table takes up like half of it. So I've only got 5 feet or so left over there. We'll see. The big project that I need to do still in the space, which I have not done yet, is, well, 2 projects. One, I need to finish this, take out all this crap from the rack, cut a bigger hole for the fan here, and then install my giant fans, which are basically 3U tall, and they're going to sit like inside this wall. So I'm going to cut out a whole chunk of this cabinet, and there'll be a giant fan here on both of these. But that project means, why is there a box flap in the camera? That project essentially means all of this stuff has to come out. So the monitors come off. I have to undo all of the gear in the racks, take these outside. I should probably do it before it starts raining again, speaking of, and take these outside, get my saw out, chop that up, paint it again, and then put it all back together. And that is a project. And then the second thing to do is my background. So that shelf is not supposed to be my background. It's the less nice looking shelf of the two. And this is more just utility storage, but I do have things labeled and organized, so I know what's in them. But that's supposed to be on the other side, and my decorative shelf is supposed to be over here. And I did get these cabinets installed, so that's nice. A lot of stuff has gone into those now. But swapping these shelves is the next thing after the cabinets. So that's also gonna be like a day to just get everything off the shelves, move them, and put it all back together. And I don't know which day I want to dedicate to that yet. Maybe once it starts getting rainy outside, I'll be more motivated to hole up in here. We'll see. Oh, Matt says yesterday was your birthday. Okay, great. Well, happy birthday. Gwen says BTS at your locations gigs would be awesome. I'm definitely planning on some sort of BTS from them. So if nothing else, I can at least take photos and probably some little short video clips, and then do some recaps either as videos or live. So definitely stay tuned for that. Has anybody heard when the replay controller is going to be shipped? I heard of at least one person who already got it. So I don't know if it's like certain regions are shipping now, but I have heard that I've heard of at least one person who has it. I know B&H still says coming soon. Still says coming soon on B&H. Yeah, but possibly other regions are already shipping them. That'll be very cool. That reminds me, I need to get back in touch with them to get one on loan here to test out. Don't know when that's going to happen though, because my schedule is getting very full. Emerald says, I'm just finishing the first edit of a 3-hour concert recorded with 4 cameras. The editing afterwards takes up tons of time. I agree. Concerts too. Yeah, that's, I totally agree. And this is why I like just live switching as much as I can. For all these on location gigs I'm going to be doing, I'm absolutely not going to edit anything afterwards. Like, I'm probably not even going to ISO record them. At least some of them are like volunteer. So if something goes wrong, whatever. I do have one that is possibly paid coming up, and that one I'm definitely going to go 3 steps higher in my amount of planning and redundancy compared to what I would do for just sort of the testing ones. And for those, I will probably ISO record. And well, we can talk about that because that's a whole plan. I need to plan that out. Does my portable rig have to be bike friendly, transportable on the bike? I mean, basically yes, because I don't have another way to get it around. I could take everything on the bus. Actually, I did that once. I did do a gig where I carried everything on a bus, and it was fine. But I would like to get everything onto my bike trailer. So I have a trailer that can hold, like, I think it's rated for 60 pounds. I have maybe pushed it over the limit a little bit, but it has like 2 bags on it, and the bottom bag can take 40 pounds, and the top can hold 20, but you can also just like strap things to it. So I've carried TV boxes or stacks of bankers boxes. Gwen says, one of my favorite things about live streams is that when you finish the streaming, you're done. I hate how time consuming posts can take. I 100% agree. 100%. One of the clients for these wants the recordings delivered after the event, and for that I am planning on just recording whatever is being streamed and just giving like a raw file. I'm not going to do post on that. Any solution to live stream a live event for a talent show on Facebook and avoid copyright issues with music? I don't think so. I mean, technically you need rights to broadcast covers of music too. So unless you've actually cleared the copyright and done the licensing, technically you're not even supposed to broadcast it off of Facebook. broadcast rights are like a thing, and most of the time people don't care about, you know, a small organization using some major labels music, but technically, yeah, you need to get all that cleared. And Facebook just has, Facebook and YouTube now, you know, will automatically find matches in music and will shut the stream down as a, because that's what's allowed. Robert says, in your studio, can you discuss the patch type connectors on the right side, HDMI and other connections, type and vendor? Yeah, sure. So the that's not the right one. That one. So all of these, actually, so these little patch panels, I'm a huge fan of. Let me find, where did I put that link? Did I already put it into the system? Nope, not that one. Oh, funny. Okay, I need to go. Oh, it wasn't on Amazon. That's what it was. It was from. Now I'm blanking on the name. I think there's a little sticker on there. What's it called? I can't read it. Why can't I read it? Everest Media Company. See if that shows anything. Oh, it is on Amazon. Okay, great. Must have been something else I got off of. Maybe I should put the Mac on that TV back there. Let's do that. That would be that one. There we go. So, okay, so first it starts with the patch panel, and the patch panel that I got specifically because they come out in chunks of 6. So on the front, you can just sort of pop out these segments, and then you can get to the back of these ports, which is really handy for plugging things in or doing maintenance or swapping out what goes into them. So that's super cool. They just like snap in there. And then I just did searches for Keystone jacks for all of these. So, you know, Ethernet Keystones, 1/8 inch audio, USB-C Keystones, and then a bunch of HDMI, and I got black and white. They actually, I've used the color. I haven't done my labels yet, and I think I'm actually happy with the wiring now. I need to do the labels, but the blacks are input into the video switcher, and the whites are output. So if I want to send video into the switcher, I can have 4 inputs here. These 4 send data out, and these 3, those are inputs into, I think it's these monitors. So I can feed HDMI signals into each of those monitors. The output would be from, I believe it's the HyperDeck. This is why I need labels. And then these USBs, you know, go to these things as well. And then same on the other side. On the other side, I've got more Ethernets, and then each of these 3 chunks, these again just sort of pop out. Well, sort of pop out. But there's, wow, this one's really stuck in there. There it goes. There are HDMI in, out, and USB for each of these devices. So I've got, you know, four HyperDecks, and then the Ultra Studio 4K, which they all have HDMI in and out. SDI is on the back, so the SDIs are wired into the rig, but then I've got the HDMIs broken out to the front. So if I wanted to, you know, grab a HDMI copy of something from here into a switcher or feed into the HyperDeck over HDMI, I can do that from the front. So those are all just HDMI patch panels and or Keystones, and those are, let's see if I can find those. Here's the HDMI white ones that I got. I'll drop that link in the chat. If you want to search for this, by the way, you can also just go to rpk.tv/products, and then you will you can search for stuff here. So if you want to know like what Keystone things have I linked to, there's the patch panel, and then here's the red Ethernets, a bunch of SDI connectors, here's the HDMIs, and then it looks like I need to add links to the USB-C ones as well. But that's been working pretty well. Gwen says, copyrighted music is also a nightmare if you do have rights, unless you also have direct contact at Facebook. True. Yeah. There's no easy way to tell them you have permission. Right. Yeah. So the automated checks don't know whether you have the rights or not. So even if you are broadcasting legally, if you do have the rights, even if it's your own music, sometimes they will match. Like if you're a artist, but you've gone through a label and then you broadcast your own music on YouTube, your label may send a copyright match on it. Which, as long as you have a contact at the label or whoever's managing the claims, or at YouTube, you can work it out. But it's just a mess. I've been doing videos about the music I've been writing, which I'm almost all the way through this. The videos are coming out every week now, so I'll drop a link to this channel. This is my long time ago, 7 years ago, I did a project of writing 100 short songs, and then what I've been doing for the last couple of months is going back to each of the 100 and turning them into full-length songs, but doing it using these new AI tools. So this is also my AI-generated thumbnails, of course. So I've got day, this one has 3 of them in it. It's like an hour-long video, but then I've been doing videos of each day one at a time. So I've done, I didn't just start doing videos at the beginning, so I've just jumped into the middle of this. But I've got a few more coming out over the next few weeks, and like 30 songs left to do. But it's been fun. If you're curious about, like, the reason I'm doing these videos is to just to actually capture the process of what it looks like to. So I take my short song, I upload it to the tool, and then I tell it to extend it. And it actually, most of the time, it sounds like the same song. Like, it's got the same instrumentation, same tones. Like, if I have weird effects applied to the piano, then it'll keep that same sound, which is great. It's kind of amazing, but it's been fun. So I've been doing those videos. But the reason I mention this is because I'm just like super paranoid about something flagging these songs, even though this is like the original things I wrote are like my 100% original music. The AI extensions are theoretically original music, but at some point something's going to trigger the content ID match, I'm sure. So we'll see. But like the whole video is just full of music, so I've just been like super nervous about it. We'll see. What did you have to do to get the classic Mac running? Just storage replacement, or did you have to do other things like recapping? I got lucky. All I had to do was get a new drive for it. So this is the thing that I got for it is called Blue SCSI, and it is it's essentially a little Raspberry Pi on a board. There's got to be a picture of it somewhere. Yeah. So here's a little Raspberry Pi attached, or Pi, what is it called? It's like the microcontroller version, embeddable version of a Raspberry Pi on this board that has a SCSI connector. So this presents itself as a disk to the Mac, but then it's got an SD card slot, so you can just put in an SD card of whatever size you want and like have multiple images on it. It can show multiple drives to it. You can have it be like, here's a hard drive, and here's a CD-ROM drive, all coming from the SD card. It's super cool. So I just downloaded a giant image full of with system, what is this one? I think 7 on it, and a bunch of games and apps on it on a 1.6 gig SD card image, and I plugged that in, and that was good enough to get it to work. I didn't need to, like, the motherboard was still functional enough. There is the CMOS battery is obviously dead, so I'm going to get a replacement one of those. And I also need to track down more RAM for it because it only has 2 megabytes, but I really want it to have 4. So I need to find some more old RAM sticks, but it'll be fun. The Pico Pi, that's what it is. Yeah. Okay, cool. Got some good questions coming in. Let me go back through the chat here. Oh, Keith, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on the web presenter long term and having that on your confidence monitor with all the streaming data? Oh yeah, good question. So yeah, I've had this web presenter for a long time now. It's sitting over there. It needs more ventilation than I currently have for it, which is why I need to do this cabinet replacement, fan replacement. It's the loudest thing out of these things in the rack right now. The fans are going, so kind of annoying. But yeah, it's and then I've got the output, the monitor output for it up on this monitor, and I really do like having this in the teleprompter here because it shows me, the on-air status. It shows me the data rate, so I can see that we're going at 6 megabits. It shows me the cache graph, which thankfully my internet here is good enough that I don't really have a problem with that. But I would see very quickly if there's a problem because that number would start ticking up. And then the other thing that's really important about this display is the audio. So I've got a nice big, it's blocked by this edge of the screen. I guess I can put it on the main stream, but you're going to get tunnel vision if I do this. That's okay. Let's see. Let's do that. So this is what I'm looking at minus the tunnel vision normally. And what did I do? Oh yeah. And the audio bar is really useful. So I can see very quickly that audio is working. I can tell my mic is on. I can tell that, I can see the levels that I'm going just into the red, which is where I want it. And that way, if I accidentally mute my mic for some reason, it's very obvious that I don't have audio going to the stream. So that's the reason for having that on the monitor. Where's my toggle? There we go. Yeah. So yeah, I will say that the other part about the web presenter is they added SRT support a little while ago, and so that's what I've been using to my YouTube channel. I've got YouTube's SRT beta turned on my channel. I haven't heard anything from YouTube about that in a long time since they added that to my channel. But it's been working great. All the streams I've done for the last now couple of months have been SRT to YouTube, and it's so it's been solid on that. But again, I have not tested this outside of my good internet. So I suspect SRT will help a little bit, but I need to do some actual tests with that still. And so I can't speak to the SRT part, but for the RTMP part, I do know that it still struggles if your internet connection is flaky. So if you don't have a solid internet connection, it will very quickly fall apart. So I'm not, well, until I do some SRT tests, I definitely won't take it to on-location stuff because if I can't control the internet connection at the venue, then I don't trust it to do a good job. So yeah. How do you get SRT added to YouTube? They just emailed me one day and they were like, hey, we want to invite you to the SRT beta. So I don't know what their process is for choosing people or when they're planning on making it not beta. So I don't really have anything to, unfortunately, to tell you. Matt says, I was doing work for a major country star and YouTube kept hitting him on his own fan channel. I called my contact and he tried to fix it, but we still had an issue. It's such a mess. It's such a mess. Okay, let me use, where was I? From Musty. There's a timecode option in the software control. My problem is I have 3 Ultimats, a Hyperdeck, and a camera with timecode from a tentacle sync, but how do I get the timecode into the ATEM? I don't think there is an ATEM timecode input. So this is also, I believe, true on the Constellation, which is weird. If you look at the specs for these, if you go to the ATEMs, you'll see. Well, let me look at some of the rack ones. If you go to the specs section, it'll say timecode somewhere. Yeah, so here's timecode connections, none. And this is the 4ME, which is wild. I don't know why they didn't put timecode in on this. So if you look at my software control, there is in the software control, there's timecode generator. So this thing can generate timecode and output it on its SDI, but there's no timecode input even on the Constellation switchers, and definitely not in the Mini. So if you do want to use timecode with that, you're going to have to do it as an audio channel. And that is, I don't know, I haven't done that with a switcher before. I've only done it just recording internally to cameras. But yeah, there's some of the other ATEMs. Which one is it? It's not the Constellations. It's the kind of surprised the Constellations don't have it. Yeah, they took them off the site now. The old rack mount ones had timecode inputs. Where was I? Hardy Media says, have you tried Blackmagic Camera setup 8.7? Blackmagic Pocket 4K uploading to Blackmagic Cloud and automatically into Resolve projects is way cool using USB-C Ethernet. I have not tried that because I don't have any Blackmagic cameras anymore. I haven't for a long time. I only had one, and I decided that I would rather have these box cameras. So, but the iPhone app, the Blackmagic Camera iPhone app, has the same feature of uploading to Blackmagic Cloud. I did do just some quick tests of that, and it is very cool. And I think it's very cool that the cameras can do it now too. Just like great for on location, news gathering, or you have a bunch of people working in an event, and all the footage is just already uploaded, already in Resolve, ready to go. It's super cool. David says, have we been duped by MPA? What's MPA? By not allowing our Wi-Fi cameras to find, connect, and cast these camera screens instead of buying HDMI extender. That is an interesting idea. What if the cameras could had like the AirPlay or Chromecast features built in? That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, right now HDMI out's the only way to do it. Amazing how much better electronics were in the middle of the last decade. So many gotchas today. You buy something new to take 2 steps backward for 1 step forward. Sony came out with a recent firmware for the A7S III and it literally bricked the camera. Yikes. That's no good. I don't know. I think there's definitely some parts of things were better 10 years ago, but in a lot of ways not, especially in the video world. Like we have things so easy now in the video world. Just thinking about putting together a little rig for doing this simple conference filming, compared to when I was doing it, 10 years ago in 2014. 2014 days were rough for that kind of thing. That I literally used the original 1U super thin ATEM television studio, not HD, for that, and that had no scalers. You had to bring everything. You had to do all your frame rate conversions outside, and then the audio options were like, I think it was only the AES audio, and that means you had to like find some way to get your audio into that format first outside of that box. It was like, man, it was a lot of gear. I have a picture of a rig. I wonder if I can find that. How would I find that? If I can find this in like 2 seconds, I'm going to show it. I found it. It's not a very good, picture. And the ATEM is not in it. But I did find it. This is from almost exactly 10 years ago, October 2014. I hauled all this stuff to MIT. So there's somewhere in the back of there's that 1U thin ATEM, but I had to get this audio processor just to get the audio into the AES format. I was recording to the Atomos. I had a little tear deck to do the streaming, another separate box, tiny monitor for the multi-view, and I don't think I had found Companion at the time, so I was just running off of ATEM software control. And at one point, I built a little Arduino controller for the ATEM. But this was a lot of gear to fit into a backpack, and man, now all of this is in the ATEM Mini, and like way better and more stuff. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. PoE cameras and Companion, yeah, totally. Stuff like the Director Mini and YoloBox are amazing for portable gigs. I agree. Okay, so, I have some feelings about this, because even though things are great right now, there's still a gap. There's still something missing. So here's like a rough sketch of, a simple presentation setup. And this is like, there's a presenter at a podium up here. They've got a laptop. You've got a projector for the screen. You want a camera filming them, and then maybe a second camera. It's not really critical, but at the point that you're bringing this much stuff, like, might as well have a second camera. And that's just like, wide shot of the room, something you can use for establishing shots, or in case you need to refocus the close-up camera. It's nice to be able to cut away to something else. The problem is that I have not, other than the ATEM Mini Extreme, which is actually overkill for this, I haven't found anything that can do exactly what I want here. And that's because this computer up at the podium, I need the slides, and then I need to feed the projector a copy of their slides. I could do it where there's a decimator up here that feeds the projector, and then I get a copy. The problem is that then anytime they pull out their computer, the projector goes blank, and it'll go into either sleep mode or, a giant blue light in the room. It's not pretty. What I would like to be able to do is feed the projector with from my video booth back here, so I can put on like a schedule or like a break screen while the next presenter is setting up their laptop. Which means, and I don't have a good way to draw on this. Oh, maybe I do, actually. Let's see if this iPad is on. Did this one's battery die? No, it's okay. I think I can do it, because Keynote is cool. Speaking of fun technology, Keynote Remote is such a cool feature, but we have to go set it up first. Apparently I can't do that when it's presenting. If you go into remotes here, you can enable Keynote Remote, and then add a device on the iPad. There it is, link. Confirm. Okay, so now the iPad is a remote for Keynote, which means not only can it control the slides, like go forward and backward, but I can also now draw on it. So now I can just like, I can point at things with a laser pointer, or I can actually draw. So, so what I want to do is I want to get a wire from the laptop to the video booth. And then I want the video booth to feed the projector. Okay. That way I can get a copy of their slides for the stream, and then switch the projector between their slides and a break screen. That doesn't sound that complicated, but that's not what I'm streaming, right? What I'm streaming is the cameras and the side-by-side layouts. So we also have, two cameras. Maybe I should actually color code the inputs and outputs. So inputs are going to be red. I have 3 cameras, and then I have an output which goes to the projector. And importantly, I also need an output to the speaker for the room, which means there's also a microphone that I forgot to draw, which is going to probably be a wireless microphone. So that means I need 2 outputs. I need a monitor so I can see what's going on, multi-view, and I need a second output for the projector. So that means ATEM Mini is out already. ATEM Mini Extreme has 2 outputs, and one of them can be aux, the aux output, which is exactly what I want. So the ATEM Mini Extreme is pretty much the minimum for this. And then if you look at the other options of like YoloBox, Director Mini, those don't work for it either, because the HDMI output is either multi-view or program, which doesn't work. The OC Go Stream does do this. So there's 2 outputs. So that might be the top smallest device, because it does have 2 HDMI outs. I can do multi-view and aux out. And it can be controlled by companion, thankfully. So that's a pretty good contender for this. But yeah, the small ones just don't work for this because they don't have that aux out capability, which is really annoying. It's really frustrating that nobody seems to have taken that into account in these portable streaming switchers. They're really just for streaming, not for live events, right? Slight difference of use case. Tricks and kicks, I run into this all the time, especially when they want a confidence monitor. Oh yeah, that too, confidence monitor. I'm not bothering with a confidence monitor for this setup because the room is small enough and they have their own laptop at the podium. But yeah, if it's not their own laptop, or if they only have a clicker, or if they want to be walking around on a larger stage rather than at a podium, then a confidence monitor you want in the front, and that's the same thing. You want to feed that confidence monitor from the booth. That way you can choose what goes on it. Sometimes you can get away with the confidence monitor being just a copy of whatever is they've plugged in. So, but otherwise, yeah, it's an important one. OC Duet with SDI and HDMI might be the answer. It's true. So one of the things about this setup is this is not a big room, but like this HDMI cable to from the camera is probably longer than I would want to do HDMI. So this probably needs to be an SDI run. The secondary camera, like, it's nice if you can get it into the back of the room so you can see like the screen and the audience. I don't mind having it sort of be a side view if that's where the table ends up. But if it is in the back of the room, then absolutely that needs to be SDI as well. It's very unlikely that the room's going to be small enough that works as HDMI. The other thing is you can sometimes get away with these wide angles with a wireless link because you're not using them all the time. It doesn't really matter if they're delayed because you can't really see the person's lips anyway. So that's an option, is a wireless link for that. Same with the computer. Like, you might be able to get away with a wireless link from the computer instead of running that cable, just because it usually doesn't matter if the slides are 200 milliseconds delayed from what the person's doing. And same with the projector, frankly. Like, I might actually do that one as a wireless link because I don't have any SDI outs on the OC. But it is sounding like the OC might be the right thing to use for this. I'll need to do some tests with it first, but it can do internal recording, it can do streaming. For one of these events, I'll be doing a Zoom webinar, so I actually don't technically need the streaming feature. I just need a webcam out, and the webcam out from USB into a computer will, as long as that's the program feed, that's good enough. For audio, like, I need a separate audio mixer, so I'm probably going to try a Rodecaster for this. We'll see how that goes, but I wish there was just a little bit more outputs on the Rodecaster, so we'll see. There are those who say an NDI solution would make duplication easy, but networking is always a complex issue on remote gigs. Yeah, right. So the NDI for sure, like you can fewer cables and run more video signals over them and stuff, but that means you got to make sure you're bringing all of your own networking gear too. So it's not necessarily easier. Blackmagic bidirectionals and decimators are lifesaver for quick conference monitor setups. I would definitely use a decimator over the bidirectional converter for the conference monitor, just because people bring random computers and you don't know what they're going to get when you're going to get, and the decimator can handle an awful lot of stuff. Could you do pros and cons of the OC versus the ATEM for this kind of application? Yeah, so the big difference, and I wish I had like I need a picture of these on the screen for this. I'm gonna compare the OC GoStream Duet rather than the original GoStream, just because the Duet has the SDI, which is great. So let me get a picture of that in here, and a picture of the ATEM Mini Extreme. Then I can point to things. And okay, I guess I actually want a picture of the back as well. So here is the Extreme. That's, sorry you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get this image in Keynote arranged. Is there a spec? There's no diagram of the OC, but I'll have to do with this sort of photo of the back. Okay. Okay, so that's what I was making. So the ATEM Mini Extreme versus the GoStream for this kind of the setup of small presentation. This is, first of all, a lot physically a lot larger, which is not nothing. I wish it was smaller because it actually doesn't fit in a backpack. It's like too tall for all of the laptop sleeves in all my backpacks. So that's kind of annoying. And then the other part is like most of these buttons I'm not going to use on location. So almost all of them are pointless for this. So I'm not a big fan of the physical form factor for this compared to the GoStream. The other big difference is this Duet has SDI inputs. So there's 4 SDIs and 4 HDMIs. It's not an 8-input device, but you can basically take your 4 video channels and choose whether you want to bring in a video from SDI or HDMI for each of the 4. So I might have 2 cameras coming in over SDI, and then the computer screen. No, actually, probably not, because the computer, probably what I'm going to have is the close camera over HDMI, and then the far camera and the computer over SDI. So 2 SDIs active, one HDMI active. I probably won't use the 4th one. But for this one, in order to get the 2 SDIs in, I need to bring converters. So now I've got 2 more little boxes to bring and 2 more little boxes to power, which is the more important part of that. So I need 2 USB power supplies, or a USB power supply with 2 outputs for the little converters for 2 SDIs. The outputs are the same. Both have 2 outputs, which is a great feature of the GoStream. So I can do the same on both of one multi-view and one for the projector out. Both have 2 USBs, so I can plug in a hard drive into one for recording and plug the other one into the computer for Zoom. So both are equivalent there. The audio is the same on both. Also, mic inputs, 2 mic inputs and 1 headphone out. I probably will use only 1 audio in, so that would be whatever audio mixer I'm using, feed the output into the mic line input of each of these, and I will use the headphone jack in both to monitor. So same there. So the big differences really are the SDI inputs and the form factor, which gives our pluses in the OC versus the ATEM. I'm trying to remember the details of the super source layout in the OC, and I think it's more limited than the ATEM. The ATEM super source is more powerful, but for this, I don't think it matters, because really all I care about is doing a cropped camera of the presenter and then the computer slides on top of a graphic background, just like this screen that you're looking at right now. So, you know, do some sort of branding for the event in the background, and both of them can do that. And then what else? We've got, gosh, yeah, it's really, the Ghost Stream is really like the ATEM Mini Extreme, but with 4 inputs. Other than that, like, it's got the same, when Blackmagic did the update for this one, they fixed, they added the headphone, the USB and the HDMI to the original ATEM compared to the original ATEM, which really was a huge upgrade, because the original ATEM Mini I can't use for this because of it only has 1 HDMI out and things like that. That's, I guess, really the big difference. The buttons on this are more useful. Like, one, there's fewer, so it's just easier to find things. But the way they did the audio on this is a lot smarter than the ATEM. Like, if you look at each of these 8 inputs has its own 6 audio buttons, right? So there's a AFV for each. There's volume up and down, mute on and off for each of them. They could have done, you know, 1 button for on off, right? They could have just said, well, there's 1 button to toggle it, and it's either you toggle it on or toggle it off. That would have saved a button. Audio follows video could have been a 3rd state of that button, for example. So they could have consolidated that. So really they could have removed 2 of these, making them only 4. But the way the OC works is even smarter. You can't really see the labels on this, but there's the buttons to select the source, but then there's separate buttons for on, audio follows video, and then the volume. So how it works is you press which input you want to configure, and then you use the other buttons. So there's only 1 on button, right? And the 1 on button changes what it's selecting based on which of these is selected. So they saved a ton of buttons by doing it that way. And it just, it's nicer. I don't know. Maybe you can argue that this is better because you have a visual indication of the audio status here. But I don't know. It's just so distracting, especially with all the camera buttons. So I like this layout a lot better. I'm really making it a good argument for the Ghost Stream on this. We'll see how this goes once I start doing little test runs of it. You can make the duet into an 8 input device with some trade-offs. You can switch inputs between SDI and HDMI, but they flash black when you do, and you can't see inactive sources. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily use it as an 8 input device, but you can technically do that. I wonder how good the OC companion support is these days. Yeah, I actually haven't updated. I haven't actually updated the companion module in a while, so I wonder if they've made any changes. It was reasonably full featured. Just a couple little quirks about it, I guess, but reasonably well featured. Oh, good question. Would you need a title screen for the room and a countdown for the stream? Yeah, so definitely title screen for the room and the stream ultimately, which I can do as just a still graphic in the media pool for both of them. Do I need a countdown timer? That is an interesting question. If I need a countdown timer, that adds, I guess I can do it as a, from an iPad. So I do have this, on this iPad, I have an app called countdown, and it's just a big clock. You get only a couple options. You can change the color, you can change the time, and it's just a big clock. You can choose whether you want, I think that's once it gets down below 10. No, maybe it's once it gets below 1. What does that do? There we go. So do you want your tenths of a seconds or not? But yeah, it's pretty simple app. It can also be a clock if you want. But this is really good for conference monitor, for one, if you need to keep speakers on track, but then also, you can, because this is just on a black background, you can do a Luma key on top of the video, or you can just put this in a little, picture-in-picture window somewhere. So if I need a countdown for the stream, I'll probably bring an iPad for that and do it that way. Yeah. I've never seen anybody use the ATEM Mini series hands-on, always using a computer or companion. I would like to know if somebody who is used to a broadcast desk would find all those buttons useful. Or an explanation from Blackmagic on the design choice. I agree. The problem is that even though there's so many buttons on the ATEM, it's not enough to actually do things with it. Like, you have to use the software control. With the decimator, if you select free run as a timecode source, then the decimator doesn't kill the output signal when the input is disconnected. Oh yeah, that's right. Good tip. Gwen says I usually use more than one switcher when I need to do projector and live stream. Unless there's iMag, I'll do projector with eCam to bring less gear since latency isn't a concern. That's an idea. That's an idea. But yeah, I do like the idea of having it all in one device. The OC Duet would be perfect if it also had one SDI output. I know, that would be ideal. Let me scroll back in the chat here. Where was I? Oh, I missed a lot. Have you seen the APCR Mini? It allows you to turn your DJI gimbal into a PTZ camera. Oh, I haven't. That sounds kind of cool. Interesting. Musty says, I recently downloaded your Chrome plugin for comments. Is there a way to time the chat overlay so it disappears automatically? There is, actually. There's a setting for it in the settings. Let me see if I have it on here. Yeah, so if you go into the extension settings, in extension options, there is a auto hide. So if you set it to 0, it will never auto hide, but you can also choose how many seconds you want them to appear, and it will it'll remove it after that many seconds. Petra says, I had exactly the same ATEM, limited yes, but game changing. I totally agree. It was $1,000 at the time, and it was, I don't think there were any other options for cheaper hardware switchers. Everything else was far more expensive than that. So it was like the first way you could get into hardware video switching at a reasonable price. But it was $1,000, and now we get so much more for $1,000. It's great. Is there a way to record the output from a camcorder on the YoloBox Ultra while also recording on the camcorder? Sure, it depends on the camcorder. Some of them can't record. Some of them will turn off the HDMI out when you hit record. Usually the cheaper ones. Camcorders actually usually not. Some mirrorless cameras will do that. Camcorders. Oh, well. Sony FDR AX43A. What is that? That does not look like a cheap a cheap camcorder that should be doing this. So maybe there's a setting for it in there, but yeah, you said that on this one, it turns off the HDMI when you hit record, which is surprising for a camcorder. But I've definitely seen some mirrorless cameras to do that. There might be a setting for it in there in the camcorder. Otherwise, you just have to find a different camcorder, because some of them will absolutely keep the HDMI on when you're recording. I think it's all my obviously the box cameras are fine for this, but the Lumix GH5 will keep the HDMI on when you're recording, but the G7, the cheap one, will turn off the HDMI when it's recording. So it depends on the camera. Did you see the release of the new Sony camcorder PXW Z200? I did not. 4K 120, wow, 1080p 240, and 20 optical zoom. That's cool. That sounds like a great camera. Oh my god, that's expensive. Yeah, that's a monster camera. Solid, great though. 12G SDI out. Look at that. Well, good thing I don't need one. Oh, one other thing on the camera, on the auto shut off. Sometimes it'll depend on the recording quality or the HDMI output quality. So like sometimes it'll be like it can't do 4K recording and HDMI out, but it can do HD recording and HDMI out. So it totally depends on the camera, but try to fiddle with those options. Check out the Allen Heath CQ12T for a small, more all-around yet small audio mixer. I don't know if I would call that small. I mean, it's technically small. Definitely has more outputs. Yeah, that may be the one thing that I'm missing for this rig. Mackie has some small mixers that would work as well. Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at those, because that's one of the things that I don't have a good amount of gear for is field audio. For the audio for this, I need to do a wireless mic from the person at the podium. I guess it could be wired, but I feel like at some point they're going to want to walk around. Like if it's the event host that walks around. Can probably get away with one mic. I don't think I need two for this. So wireless mic is my assumption. I need to get the audio into the stream and into the room. So one option is I actually have this, I've had it for 5 or 6 years now. Barely got a chance to use it before COVID. This PA speaker, it's small, but it has a USB port on it. And they make their own like wireless, I think it's Bluetooth, but it's not, you can't pair it with anything else, but it's a wireless mic that pairs to a USB receiver that you plug into the back of it. And so the way this could work is that mic goes into the speaker directly and then a line out from the speaker into the booth. That way, so I can't control what's in the speaker, but I don't need to send any other audio to the room. That would be one way to do it without, I wouldn't really need a mixer then, because I can just bring that audio directly into the ATEM or the OC. Or I do bring a mixer and I do mic into the mixer, and then I feed the speaker, which lets me do volume control. And if I did want to pipe music in during the breaks or something, I could do that. So we'll see. I don't really have a good mixer for that right now, unless I can get the Rodecaster Duo to work. They just sent me one along with another surprise, which I can't talk about yet. It'll be another month or so. But now I do have the Rodecaster Duo to play with here, so hopefully I will get a chance to try that out. You need a 2 ME switcher, ME1 stream, ME2 video protector. I mean, that's one way to do it. It's overkill for what I need, because I don't care about doing transitions or layouts on the second ME. So I really just need all I need to be able to do is hard cuts on the aux out. So I don't, it doesn't need to be a full 2ME, but that would also work for sure. At my venue, we use the extreme aux for screens so they can hot punch if we need specific source. My personal extreme rig has a button for every source to aux on companion. Totally, yeah, totally. I have a problem streaming from my Panasonic Lumix GH5 Mark II. Please advise on Panasonic software. Very restrictive. I don't know what the problem is. Did you explain it somewhere else? Might have to be more specific with the problem. I've done a little bit of, I haven't done any streams to YouTube from it just because like I don't know why. There's very specific times where that would be useful, but like if you're just going live straight from a camera, you can't do, fancy audio mixing. You can't add a title slide or countdowns or anything. But I agree that it's very limited in what it can do. And what I have used it for is actually streaming to a box in the studio to as like so I can use it wirelessly, but have a large view of the camera on the screen back there. So I'll stream it to a RTMP server in the studio, and then just use it as a way to see what the camera sees large, instead of adding another HDMI transmitter to it or something. But I agree, the software is not super great on it, but I don't know what your particular problem is. Compared to older cameras, the price range on the Z200 looks pretty great. I mean, yeah, if you're in the market for that kind of camera. What camera would you recommend for a 24/7 live stream, outdoor sports? 24/7 outdoor sports? What kind of sports goes 24/7? Interesting. 24/7 live stream outdoor. So essentially that means like permanently installed cameras. So I would look at, I would probably look at things that can support power over Ethernet. So PTZ cameras, a lot of PTZ cameras have PoE support and tripod and screws and mounting options, so you can mount them to poles and stuff. The reason that I would recommend that is because PoE is a lot easier to run than other kinds of power, especially outside. So you can just run an Ethernet wire somewhere, and if it's not even like, you can technically just run them on top of the ground. Like I actually have in here, it's technically a temporary camera, but it's now been here for 2 years. It's just this long, 100-foot Ethernet wire that's just draped across the ground, and it's not even a high quality Ethernet, but it's powering one of the Unify cameras, so not like broadcast camera, but same idea, right? PoE is great for that, just because the cables are cheap, and it's you're not sending AC voltage out there on extension cords. And if you want it to be 24/7, you need a camera that can handle being powered on forever, which sometimes camcorders are not a good option for that, or certainly not mirrorless cameras, because they want to go to sleep, or they will get bumped, and then you have to go change the menu system on them. But like PTZ cameras usually have a web interface or some sort of remote control option that you can use for that. So I would look at that kind of camera. The price range in there is huge, so how much do you want to spend? But yeah. Hey, all made it to a stream. Hi, Bailey. Good to see you here. 24/7 sounds like flagpole sitting or endurance things like that. Tim says, I'm an old school video artist. I'm trying to get my old school V1 Edirol mixer into my Apple Pro M1. The Edirol output is composite. Any ideas on how to convert? I feel like I've seen converters for that. I've definitely seen composite to, that must exist, composite to HDMI. And they're not expensive either. No idea what the quality is on this kind of thing, but I've seen a ton of these kinds of things, of you know, $10 boxes that take your analog input and output and HDMI. The quality on this is probably not great, but also the quality of your video input is probably not great to begin with, so maybe it doesn't matter. There are capture cards for composite to, like, USB capture cards, but I feel like that's not the right way to go, just because it's adding more. Those are usually more expensive, and if you can just go to HDMI, then you can use it with any HDMI stuff, not only your computer. So yeah, take a look at that. Oh yeah, Blackmagic has some converters too, but that's gonna be more expensive, and I don't know how much it matters that extra quality that you get from that. Let's see. Somewhere in broadcast converters, somewhere in here they have analog converters. I think it's their mini converter line, and then SDI to analog. Let's see. Here we go. Analog component S video NTSC composite to SDI. So 225. I mean, this is going to be like a solid option. But then you've got the BNC connectors for it, not the little yellow RCA. So I don't know. It depends on what device you've got there. But there's definitely options for it. Matt says, I worked a 24-hour race at Daytona, which is about 27 hours. And how is a 24-hour race 27 hours? We only had 2 crews. So you work a 10 hours, go to bed, then get up and finish it off. Oh my God, that sounds rough. The benefit to using a capture device is you could de-interlace the composite for better quality. Do the converters not do de-interlacing? Cool. Well, let us know how it goes. The I was speaking of old video, I was also trying to see, like, what would it take to get that Mac into the stream, and the answer is it's complicated. So I have found some guides on tapping into the pins that feed the monitor, breaking them out so that you get like your RGB video out, and then you have to do a conversion to HDMI. Some people have built that little chips for that with a Raspberry Pi. But yeah, it's fun. I don't know if I'm going to do that or just keep it by itself. I have the other one I have is just a shell, and I got this little display that I need to make a 3D printed back bracket for. The display is almost exactly the size of that monitor, and that one I'm going to eventually put on the shelf in the back of the stream, and then I can put whatever video I want on it because it's just an HDMI display, so that'll be fun. Now is the time to smash the like button. Thanks for the reminder. I agree. I think I lost my like and subscribe animation in the last reboot of the switcher, which is weird because I could have sworn it was saved. So I don't know what happened there. Let me see if I can find it. What was it called? It was like and subscribe. And then can I find the audio for it? Subscribe, there it is. Okay, well, it's loading out those frames into the ATEM, which means my companion is probably going to be overloaded. Oh, I guess not. So yeah, the little presentation situation. The OC is pretty darn close to perfect. It's pretty close. Oh, the other way I was thinking about, since there are surprisingly few switchers that can handle an aux out, the other way to do this is, instead of aux out, treat the projector as basically a separate switcher. So, you know, 2 ATEM Minis would work. One ATEM Mini feeding the projector, one feeding the stream. That's overkill. I don't want to do that. But all I need for the projector is really just a 2-input switcher, or really just actually an image and an input. So this is another thing that I don't understand why it doesn't exist. Like, why isn't there a little box that takes one HDMI in, one HDMI out, but then lets me upload a graphic to it? And maybe even if there's no HDMI signal detected, it just flips to that graphic. Like, this has to exist, right? What I want is, like, I just want a graphic to be displayed, and as soon as somebody plugs in their computer gets displayed. That would be, like, automatic would be fine. If it's the other way to do it is like an actual 2-input switcher where I feed it 2 HDMI signals. One is their laptop, one is whatever generator I'm using for the graphics. That would be a little bit more flexible because I could, like, stick an iPad on it and have it doing a presentation, which means I can do animations or, you know, sponsor loops and things like that, and then manually switch between the two, which would be fine. But there are also basically no 2-input switchers. There's one, which I actually used to have, and I sold it a while ago because I just didn't need it anymore. What was it called? It was the not Blackmagic, B&H. I think it's discontinued. Oh no, VO2. That's what it's called. VO2. They did a second version of it, right? So I don't know what the difference is, but this let me see if I can find. Oops. Yeah. So this little guy, the VO2 HD, I had this a long time ago. And I did actually use it for this. This is the Mark II. I had the Mark I. I don't know what's different. This was out before the ATEM Mini was out, but it's a 2-input switcher and it has scalar. So it was really perfect for this. It was, you know, plug in your graphics source and then plug in your computer. And then I never used the preview out, but program out feeds the projector. And then you can just, you know, very quickly change what's on the projector, and you can even do crossfades. It didn't have any remote options, so that was annoying. Oh, I think they added USB to this. That wasn't on there originally. So this is like almost what I want, but even this is overkill, and this is larger than I want it to be. Ideally, it would be like, I don't need any effects. I just need a hard cut. Like, I don't care about the effects. Oh, and this does have a still image. The Mark II is cool. Okay, that's kind of cool. It looks like this adds a few features that weren't in the original. So this is very, very close to what I want, but I want it to be smaller and have fewer buttons and have remote control. So this would do great at sitting, for example, at the podium. So computer goes into that box under the podium. That box sends, maybe I could have, I guess probably don't do it that way. Probably I put it out the video booth, actually. So I get the slides and I have an iPad next to me, and then I feed the projector from it. And I guess I need a second output from it also. That's what's missing from it, is I need a copy of the computer as well. So I think, if I remember correctly, there was an option to change the preview out to be program also. But ideally, there would be an option to have this second output be a pass-through. And again, like, so it's almost right. This version might actually work for it, but it's this is the only thing I've seen like this, and I don't understand why more people don't make something like this. OC has that new 2-input switcher. I don't think that's what I'm talking about. OC Go Stream M2. Yeah, I don't think that's exactly right because let's go look at the specs for it. Go Stream M2. I don't have this yet, but this is really meant to be a capture card, not a switcher. So where do they have the where? Why don't they have a little diagram? Come on. Nope. It's really hard to find what this is. Was it down here that they had a little... So, like, I don't care about doing any of this, right? So I don't need these features. They do have audio inputs, which is interesting. Man, I just want a diagram of it. Maybe they have a manual with some better diagrams. Let's see. Go Stream M2. Here we go. So they have only one HDMI out, but they do have USB out. So it's really meant to be a capture card, which I don't need for this. So that would let me feed, if I wanted to feed the projector, then I only have one output. So I would need, like, this is why it doesn't really work, because I need two outputs from this. I need a way to get a copy into the switcher and to the projector. So unless the switcher, I guess technically I could plug in the USB into the OC's USB and use this as a webcam, which is a weird way to do it, but it would work. I assume that the USB out is program out, and I'm assuming the output's also the program out. Let's see if there's any clue about that. I don't care about OBS. Windows, no. And then, yeah, so they don't really tell us enough in here. Maybe that would work. If you could find it used, the non-HD and non-4K web presenter was a simple 2-input switcher. Oh, that's right. I do remember that. And it might have enough outputs to do what I want also. Perhaps you could do your hold slide idea with using bright signs. The bigger ones have HDMI capture. I've never used those devices, so that's a thought. I say point a camera at the screen of the Mac and get in less trouble than trying to get a direct video signal. Yeah. Wondering what camera is that behind you? That is one of my BGH ones. So all of my cameras in here are BGH ones, and that's yeah. The reason I got those is because mainly because it lets me do this. If I can switch to the app, it lets me do this remote control of it. So I can, on my computer screen, I can go and pull up and adjust focus and shutter speeds of all the cameras around here, regardless of where they are. So I don't have to worry about going and fiddling with the buttons back there. So I can remotely reach the cameras I can't physically reach. Where there's a guy at MIT who makes a box just like that. Custom box worked great. No idea if he's still there. It's got to be possible to make a box like that. So this is why it's so close. We're so close to having all the right pieces in place. I just don't understand why no one has made quite the right things. You want a capture card that when it loses signal shows an image. I don't want a capture card though. That's the thing. I want a HDMI device pass-through, but capture card could work for the OC because it does have a webcam input. ATEMs don't have a webcam input. But yeah, the Magewells do have that feature. Let's see. Definitely, there's a lot of different USB captures. To loop through HDMI, which is not right either. It's, yeah, it's not quite there. Okay, well, I think this is about it for today. I have, we will come back to this and we will do some, I still have a couple of months before these events are starting up and this other event is happening. So we have some time to play around with things and test things out. But this is like, it shouldn't be hard, right? Like it's a pretty simple ask. You know, one camera on a presenter, slides from them, but I need to feed the projector and I need sound for the room and sound for the stream. It shouldn't be that hard. So we're gonna benchmark all these switchers against this use case and see how they do. Maybe I can even do like a full comparison of all the different switchers I've ever touched, of like YoloBox, Magewell, ATEM, OC, RGB Link. See how they can hold up against this. But I still want someone to make this little tiny box. Nobody's done it. Time to get some venture capital and add it to the PK product line. I mean, absolutely not. But I would love to convince somebody else to make one. This is absolutely something OC could make. So, and I've talked to them about it already a few times. So I will bring it up to them again. Maybe if I can get a video out, I will be able to explain it better so they can share it around. I feel like there's almost, some of the Atomos devices are also weirdly close, right? The because they have that. Well, some of their monitors are not just monitors either. Like monitor recorders. Some of these have some weird features too. Then there's like did they take it down? Where was the? Oh, this is all live cloud stuff now. Where was that little box that I played with a while ago? Anyway, it doesn't solve the problem either. But the point of it, it was like the add-on for the Ninja. Anyway, they make stuff that's, you know, similar lines. I feel like could work for this. It's so close. This week on stream, we are on part 7 of programming FPGAs. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Yes, Alonzo, the Rode Newcomer is about to be released. I have it here now, so I will. And tomorrow I'm getting the custom firmware, the new firmware for it. So stay tuned. The Roland SR20 HD is a weird device that they market for conference streams. SR20, that one I haven't seen before. I've seen a lot of the Roland stuff. Oh, I remember when this was announced. I agree, it's weird. Let's see if this solves all of my problems. If I remember correctly, this is expensive though. Okay, where is they have good little connection diagrams. Everybody should make block diagrams like Roland. Not this. What I'm talking about. Oh, here. Let's look at the panel really quick. Interesting. Only 2 HDMI ins. Okay, 2 HDMI out. That's all I need. I don't need this much audio, but that's cool. Audio out, so I can feed speakers. So I could. I mean, this is cool because it's got, you know, audio and video all in one. So I can take an input from a mic, feed the speakers to the room, and then projector from, hopefully this is configurable, preview, and then main. Hopefully one of these can be multi-view and aux. I think they can. This is the diagram I'm talking about. They're block diagrams. I love these diagrams. Everybody should do these. So here's your two inputs. So this is how we can tell what they can do. You have an input capture into a still player, which means you can take an input, you can take a still frame from either of these. Great, that's a really useful feature. There is a third input, which is either a still player, USB video, or video player. Okay, so you switch your third input first. So it's a 3-input switcher. Here's the cross point. Great, they all have scalars. Oh, it's actually a 4-input switcher because there's a fourth still player. Cool. And then your cross point goes to this picture-in-picture split. Okay, great. So we can put something over that as well. And then preview. It looks like, I'm guessing because it goes to the cross point, the preview can be any of those. Oh, okay, yeah. So here's your multi-viewer. So that means the HDMI out preview can be either, oh, that might be just the preview or the multi-view. So that may not be selectable between all of these. That part's not clear because we can kind of lose data in this crosspoint block. Program out is the program out, no option. So this isn't quite right either. Because if I want to see the multi-view, then the only other output is the program output, which is either the combined output of whatever is in the program. No, it's always whatever's in the program because I can either switch between a pattern gen or the video signal, but that's going to go to the stream as well. Oh, this is cool though. They added a little safety image in the streaming part, which is not part of the recording. Interesting. That's cool. Okay. So, and this isn't right because I can't feed a projector from this because, wait, what's this? Oh, that's on this. That's on the LCD itself. So the HDMI out preview. Okay, right. So if it, okay, maybe it does work. If it has a screen, I don't need a HDMI out. So if this is the projector, I don't have it multi-view. I have it set to this toggle, which is preview. So what is this? That's the question. That part's not clear. Is that literally only ever preview? Or is it configurable? Input source. I don't know if I'm going to find it by looking at their specs, unfortunately. In any case, if I remember correctly, this thing is expensive. Let's find it. Oh, it's not as bad as I thought. It's only $1,000. I thought it was like $4,000. Not bad. Okay. It's a contender. The big question is that preview, is that HDMI out preview configurable as an aux out? And I don't think it is. Program is what you see in the stream, and on the HDMI out can't be different like an aux. But the preview output, is that actually preview or is that configurable? Is the second block diagram audio? Yeah, it is, which is always weirdly more going on than on the video diagrams. So, oh wow, you can change the audio out of each one of them too. That's cool. To any of main monitor, record, test tone. There's a lot going on there. But yeah, the big question is whether this HDMI out can be switched between. So yeah, we can switch it between multi-view and preview, but can preview be something that's aux out, or is it really just preview? Because if it's just preview, I can't use it to feed a projector. Only a preview, not configurable. It's so close. It's so close. It has webcam input too. That's kind of cool though. Okay, anyway, that was a fun distraction. See, this is what I mean. It's like everything gets so close, but why isn't there something that can do this? I mean, the GoSee Duet is, I think, does solve all the problems except the audio problems, which is fine. Audio I can handle in a separate mixer. I think it's the only one that ticks all the boxes. The ATEM Mini Extreme ISO does work, but I wouldn't want to bring it just because it's so much bigger. I could if I have to, but it is a lot bigger for no good reason, really, because I'm not using 8 inputs for that. I told Roland, ask Aaron. Well, if somebody wants to make this, I'll be very happy. Because, man, why is it so... Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I think that's about it for today. This has been fun. We will continue to discuss this on the stream and do some little tests. I'll get some other devices out on the table here. We'll set up little test runs of it and see how it goes. And yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, so as always, thanks for being here. Thanks to the channel supporters. Thanks to the extreme supporters, Larry, David, and Marcin. Thank you for all your support. Thanks for the questions. Thanks to all the other channel members. We do have again, reminder of the members Discord, where we chat throughout the week and share sneak peeks of things that are going on. I will absolutely be posting behind the scenes pictures once I eventually get to these live in-person gigs into the Discord. So join there if you're a channel member. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be back next week, pretty sure. And I think I have a good run coming up, and a good run of weeks coming up here where I'm not actually traveling, except for something at some point where I will be doing a remote stream again. So yeah, okay, that'll be fun. Let's get this presentation switcher situation sorted out and see if the GoSee GoStream, OC GoStream, I keep doing that, really is the only option available for this. Yeah, all right. Have a good week, everybody, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next.